It's the first Saturday we've ever done the DLLS Rangers podcast. It must be a big day. Well, of course it's a big day. We wouldn't be here otherwise. So we'll talk about Sasaki. We'll talk about Do It For Durrett. And you never know what hat Jeff will be wearing on the last podcast of the week. It's all coming up on the DLLS Rangers podcast. So we planned on doing a podcast today to wrap up the great Do It For Durrett event yesterday. And then, lo and behold, the posting has happened for Roki Sasaki as his team, the Chiba Latte Marines, have allowed him or posted him to allow him to come to Major League Baseball. So we've got a double dose of great Rangers talk for you. Coming straight at you now from the DLLS Sports Studios. It's John Radigan Rads with Abby Jones, and there's J-Dub over there. It's the last week of or last show of the week. So yeah. The tradition is Hat Day.
Well, we're going to be cooking up some Rangers news here. So
we're going to be cooking up a way for the Rangers to get Sasaki is what we're doing.
Yeah. I tell you, he's posted, and we've gone over several times the whole process, and it's not going to be the unmitigated, no rails free agency. He goes into the international pool. So really, any team could sign him. Mm-hmm. Every team in baseball has enough money to sign him. But with somebody of his magnitude, there's always a little, back under the table talk about, hey, in a year or two, we'll give you this. And so that's going to happen, and so that will shrink the number of teams. Of course, he's not going to come here to play for the Pirates or the A's. He wants to win and be a star. So that shrinks it pretty good, and I think the Rangers would be in that pool. I really do.
Yeah, they've worked hard on him.
They have, yeah.
Let's talk about how posting him even kind of made sense, because it almost was like it made more sense for them to keep him over there. Like the benefit for their team kind of outweighed him being posted. Why do you think they finally decided to post him?
Well, I think there's probably, there's talk that he had it in his contract, and I don't know that he was gonna want to sign with them anyway, because he was on a 1-year deal, and so it's like, all right. We can hold this money and build up this grudge and this bad reputation with future Japanese players that want to come to the United States, or just let him go, do the good thing, the honorable thing, because it's he's not the first, mm-hmm. and just kind of do what's good. It's good for the game in Japan. It really is. I mean, you're going to lose one of your best players, but you're also turning him into a star in the United States. So. From a business perspective, no, it's a terrible decision. I mean, pure dollars and cents, but overall, it probably makes a lot of sense for them just to, stay in the good graces and have the opportunity to sign and keep players like that going forward.
He shared, "I'm very grateful to the team for officially allowing me to be posted."
Yeah, and he had a quote that has since been removed from the story, it looks like. But he had a quote that said his time in Japan was not good, and success-wise, yes. Oh. And it looks like I'm going to have to put these glasses on, folks. Sorry about this, but I read that for sure this morning. I almost typed it up for the Prophet. I forgot to mention the Prophet, by the way. He's over here twisting and tweaking and doing a great job for us. So I almost typed it up, but the Prophet was so busy yesterday. I didn't want to put too much on his plate, but that quote is no longer in the story. But he said this morning, I read it with my own eyes, that my time in Japan did not go well. And that clearly has nothing to do with how he played there, because he was the best pitcher by far in the Japanese league.
Yeah.
So, he didn't elaborate on what didn't go well.
Yeah.
But apparently, look, he's another one of those guys that he wanted to play in the major leagues, right? And so he, to Jeff's point, made a provision to do that. And good for him, and good for all of Major League Baseball, that now there is a chance to get this guy. And to your point, as a quick background on what that is, right? If they'd kept him for 2 more years, he wouldn't have fallen into the international rookie bonus pool. He would have been completely available when the Rangers got our boy
Darvish.
he got a huge bonus, right?
Yeah.
The posting fee was the posting fee. Yeah, he didn't get it. The posting fee was 55 million.
It was 52.11. For 11 for his number. In Japan, or maybe it's 51. Wait, it was a big number. But the system's changed since then. Now it's just a percentage of the contract,
and even that can be big,
right? Because Yamamoto last year, who signed at 26, his team Oryx held on to him. They got $50.6 million after the 12-year, $325 million contract. So the Dodgers are paying him $325, and they had to pay the $50, so it's a $375 deal. The Rangers signed Darvish. His contract was 6 years and $60 million, I think it was. But when you added the $52 million, that's that was a pretty sizable chunk of money, although it didn't go to him, all of it. But now, so that's why it does make sense for the Marines, because they're going to get 20% or 25% of maybe $10 million. That ain't a lot of money.
No,
and so it's not good for them. But again, and these teams don't operate on huge budgets. It's not like they have $200 million payrolls over there. There's only a handful of clubs relative to our 12 teams, I think, and
the opportunities kind of small.
Right. Well, like the biggest contract I think this year was, I think the highest paid guy was like $4 or $5 million. I mean, they just don't pay well. So $2 million isn't a drop in the bucket for a team, but 50,
it's nothing like 50.
50
and all they had to do, he's 23, and all they had to do was wait till we have to be over 25, right? You have to get to 26. So anyway, it's big news. It's big news because the Rangers have worked so very hard on their influence and their presence in Japan, and they've done a great job with that. And we wonder what you think. So don't forget to chat along with us on a rare Saturday edition of the DLLS Rangers podcast. But it's nice to see you, Natalie, and we'll see the others coming in as well.
I know. I was going to say BC, our Dodger guy. He would love this segment.
Yeah, well, he would. And we're going to basically try to talk him out of and Sasaki, frankly, out of it just being automatic that he goes with the Dodgers. Look, that's the conventional wisdom,
right?
Is that, because, they have Shohei Ohtani, because they have Yamamoto, he is automatically going to just go and sign with the Dodgers. And we aren't necessarily ready to just buy into that, in large part because, among other people, and among other things he did, Ross Fenstermaker has been part of this whole international recruiting process as he came up through the ranks to become the general manager of the Rangers.
Yeah, the Rangers have an established presence over there. I mean, it was, before you Darvish, it was building and building. Then they get you Darvish. I mean, the money dictated a lot of that, but they've had multiple Japanese players over the years. They had an agreement with Hokkaido, which MLB has since banned teams from having those arrangements. But there was a working arrangement there. They signed Colby Lewis when Colby Lewis is in Japan. They went and got him. Tony Barnett, a reliever. You guys might remember him.
Yeah.
So They have scouts. Joe Furukawa is the head guy. He was Darvish's initial interpreter. Haji Watabe is over there. Great guy. They work hard. But then, Josh Boyd, who's assistant general manager forever, going to the John Daniels era, early in the John Daniels era. He goes to Japan a ton. So does Ross, more not as much, but he was over kind of international scouting. And then the general manager goes when he has to go, and Chris Young went in September. And
see why I did that late in the season. Yeah.
So I mean, there's a presence, and how these negotiations go. He's going to want to create leverage, obviously. So he's not just going to single out one team and negotiate with them. He's going to. It'll probably be like Ohtani, where Ohtani. I think there were 7 teams that he met with. The Rangers were one of them, obviously. Mariners are in there, and ultimately the Angels is where he signed. And that was a surprise. I think a lot of people, including the Rangers, thought Ohtani was going to sign with the Rangers.
Yeah,
and he didn't. So I think you get into the room, you never know what happens. And Wasserman is going to represent Sasaki. They're pretty. They've done it for a while. Wasserman is also who Jordan Montgomery hired. Not that Jordan Montgomery is negotiating a contract this year, but maybe next year.
Yeah.
And anytime you get an agent in the room or talking to him, you don't just talk about one guy.
That's talk about all your guys.
That's kind of always the little hidden thing. It's like, I remember JD saying, we were at a Do It For Durrett dinner actually, and he got a text. I was like, where are you texting? He goes, oh, it's Joel Wolf, an agent. I was like, oh, okay. And he represented a player I don't recall, but he also represented all these Japanese players. So anyway, whenever that's going on, like if they talk to Scott Boras, how many players does Scott Boras have?
Oh my gosh, everybody.
So they're talking about all of them. So anyway,
Yeah.
Just get in the room, get Chris Young in that room, get the guys who Sasaki has met. The Rangers, they met with him in high school. They went to his house and met with him. Get them in the room and see what happens. You never know.
And so Shohei Ohtani was the fee was like 2
It was $20 million.
It was
20
$20
million posting fee then. Yeah.
Okay.
So after Darvish, it then went to 20, and then after Ohtani, it went to the current system. So really, the Japanese teams have been getting screwed over basically.
Sure. And what did Ohtani sign for? Not a lot of money.
It was 2 something.
Yeah, 2.1 or 2.3.
The Rangers had the most money.
Right now they do.
They had the most international money then. They had saved all their bullets,
and they made trades to get more
exactly,
international money.
which you can do. You can acquire up to 75% of your budget. So in the Rangers' case, they have like $6.6 million this year. So I don't know what 75% of that is, but
I don't know why you're looking at me.
It's
nobody does math on this.
It's not 4 million. 4 million would be 67%. So anyway, they have a chance to get it to 10. But they do have international agreements too, and they want to be able to. There are guys that they want to sign internationally. So there might be a situation when they're like, all right, Roki, we will give you this amount of money, but that's not all of our budget because we need to sign these guys who are really going to help you down the road. And then we'll make up the difference here tenfold in a couple years.
Yes.
Just to make it
there
look
has
good.
to be that wink, wink, nod, nod.
Yeah. Absolutely. 100% has to be.
Yeah.
Because really, I mean, if they didn't do a deal, he could be pre-arb and they'd pay him $800,000 for 3 years.
Yeah.
And then five, 12 and 20 or whatever it would end up being. But they won't do that. They'll get him locked up. And I mean, at 23, he just turned 23 like last week.
Okay.
So he's a young 23. He's got a chance. I mean, 12-year deal seems perfectly reasonable.
Oh my gosh.
But okay, so when he's 25, let's say 10-year deal at that time, sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So let's be maybe a little delusional or hopeful for a second. If the Rangers did have Sasaki,
right?
It's a fastball that reaches triple digits pretty often. Complements with a frontline split finger fastball and a slider. What would be the starting rotation with this guy in it?
Yeah, I mean, you figure obviously a healthy Jacob deGrom is still going to be your ace.
Yep.
And then they call
the
Sasaki the Japanese version of Jacob deGrom.
Yeah.
So you have deGrom followed by the Japanese version of Jacob deGrom, Sasaki.
deGrom Part 2.
If they sign Nathan Eovaldi, which we know they really intend to do, that's your third starter now?
Yeah.
That's fantastic.
Maybe
and to clarify, this Sasaki money does not come from
That's
the
right.
pool of money where the Rangers are attempting to sign Eovaldi from. So they still have the money to sign Eovaldi, sign a bevy of relievers, Jock Peterson, let's say. It's entirely different pool of money. So that's what's so damn enticing about this.
Yeah,
Yes.
you have your cake and eat it too.
You have a chance to get him for nothing out of a budget that most people don't even understand where the money goes. And you're not going to see these players in a lot of cases unless they're Juan Soto or Acuna for 5 years.
It's like girl math. Like if you pay in cash, it's free. Because like everything's on a card. So if you have like I get my nails done in cash only because then it's free.
It's free.
But that's what this is. If this is a set aside pool that has nothing to do with your real budget, then this guy's free.
Okay. Okay, so with a daughter and a wife, I've never heard about this girl math.
They use
you need
it.
to dial
Holy
into
They use it.
crap! I'm gonna have to start looking at the budget. My goodness.
If it's half off, then you're
No
getting
wonder
paid.
there's never
you're
any-
getting paid to buy it.
No wonder there's
If it's
never
half
any
off.
cash around. For God's sake! All right, so now I've learned something. I hope you have too on the podcast this morning. We've got lots more coming up though. As we get to Do It For Durrett, we may do a couple of segments where we chat a little bit about Do It For Durrett. We're also going to hear from Kelly Duret, who is really the reason that Do It For Durrett started in the first place. It's a very emotional interview. Want to stick around for that. And we get to some really good news from the Arizona Fall League for your Texas Rangers. They're among the best there in the Fall League, and we'll talk about how and why coming up a little later in the program. It's all coming up. It's the DLLS Rangers podcast.
Rods, I can't believe that you haven't introduced our guest over here.
I know.
Because we have a Roback sponsor, and I bet who could use some sweatshirts.
He could.
It's this guy from Detroit, John Radigan, from Detroit, and got family visiting here, brother and sister-in-law. I can let Rads do those introductions later, but Roback would be great for these Detroit, people because it's cold there. And I've lived in Detroit quite some time. You need sweatshirts, you need polos, all those things. You want to stay warm out on the golf course. So go to Roback, and we have a code DLLS20 for 20% off of your first purchase. It's the best performance sports gear out there. They have game day collections as well. Pretty heavy with the SEC because it's also a Southern thing.
Yeah.
So go to Roback today and think of John Radigan because it's RHOBACK.
Yeah, and do they know about Roback up there? You do? Okay, because, and we'll introduce my brother later on in the program, who looks a lot like me, actually. But we will, but I've never known of Roback until we started the show, and now I'm jonesing for all of it, man. I love those quarter zips I've seen. They're fantastic stuff. But anyway, that's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about HelloFresh, which is fantastic. We have gone through our box of HelloFresh. We went through it quickly. We've already redone one of the recipes. We didn't do it quite as well. You need their ingredients. They send you everything HelloFresh. They send you the meat. They send you all the ingredients, the spices. It's fantastic. HelloFresh. Use the code FREERANGERS and you get 10 free meals over the course of 7 different boxes, and it's for first-time users only. HelloFresh and Free Rangers. New hat for Jeff.
Yes.
That is...
I like this one.
I
want this
for
one.
Durrett hat. It almost looks like it's somebody's fire department.
It does.
But it's the Do It For Durrett, which is such a great event.
These are new hats this year, and I have a white one too, white with the blue letters. But yeah, it's the event was yesterday. If you followed our Twitter account, Abby and the Prophet were out there shooting content, doing interviews. During the golf tournament, which was at Grapevine Golf Course, which is a great track.
It is.
3 nines.
It
I loved
really
it.
was.
It is.
And great shape. And then 150 golfers strong. So that was great. 49 under won it because you could do some gimmicky.
49 under.
Well, you could buy.
Oh my God.
You could buy a 0 on a par 5.
But
Okay.
there
For
were
3,000.
There were like 4 teams.
Yeah.
That were 49.
Yeah.
And then they had a scorecard playoff at 49 under.
They did. You
Did
could
they really?
you could buy a 0 on a par 3, which Mike Maddox did for my group. So we were at 51 under, and we were feeling pretty good.
Yeah.
That's funny.
So, but anyway, the golf was great. The rain held off miraculously. I think Richard was looking out for us on that one. But a lot of good content came out of it, and among it was Abby talking to Kelly and the family, and it's Kelly, God bless her, what she went through, what all these people go through, that they experience. Do It For Durrett helps people who went through what Kelly went through, which is the loss of a parent, a husband, the sudden loss of a loved one who's helping grease the wheels financially and support the family, and all of a sudden, holy crap, half your income's gone, and you've got all these bills that you weren't expecting, and maybe the insurance didn't come through or whatever. So we, Kelly, the first year, John, you were the MC at the first event. We raised $200,000 for her, and then after that, the metamorphosis of it was that we wanted to keep it going. We did so with Kelly's blessing, John Daniels, and Kelly talked it out and figured out a game plan, and then Emily Jones and Anthony Andro and myself we were all in the original board members, and we've added Ashley, our niece, and Greg Denman since. And it just, we've now raised, including yesterday, like $2.8 million more. Well, wow. $2.3 million. Wow. More than, we're approaching 2.5. We've helped over 200 families, and it's not always $20,000, but $5,000 here, and that covers a lot.
That'll help.
Yeah, that covers a lot.
Absolutely,
and that's usually our wheelhouse for area families. But we've even extended our reach beyond Texas on occasion. So it's just it's nice. But again, back to Kelly, all the things that she went through and continues to go through. She has a 15 or 16-year-old boy. I don't remember how old Owen is. 16. Yeah, he's just starting to drive. It's hard to raise a boy without a dad. Imagine talking to him about puberty, and stuff all like that. Stuff. And so, but anyway, she's just a trooper, and these kids are great. And so, we have an interview. I think
we do have an interview.
Let's go to it with Miss Abby and Miss Kelly. Oh,
we're working on.
Said, hold on.
Prophet's over there working that computer, making it work. Stand by. Here comes the interview.
Oh, we're working on it.
Yeah. So while we're at it, Owen, 16, his younger sister is Alice, who I believe is 13, and then Margot, who is 9, 10 in December. She's a week younger than my daughter, and one of the last opportunities I had to spend time with Richard was in Detroit. The terrible series in 2014 when the Rangers said, Prince Fielder's out for the year, he needs neck surgery, and now, by the way, Jurickson Profar needs shoulder surgery. So it was not a good day. And Richard had been all over Detroit working for ESPN, and I even think he filled in on radio that day. It was crazy. But anyway, we went to the Anchor Bar in downtown Detroit that night for a burger and some beers, and T.R. Sullivan was there, and we both revealed in our own ways that our wives were pregnant. And so that was like May, let's say 13th or 14th. It was somewhere in that window, and he was gone a month later. So these are precious times, and that's when it just all kind of hit the gas, and through Kelly's life for quite a loop.
And she was on the road with her family at the time that Richard had died while he was taking a run. And he was to meet them in Anaheim. They were all out at Disneyland.
Right.
So to go to Disneyland with your family and get that news, just awful, unbelievable circumstances. Got the thumbs up from the Prophet. Let's hear from Kelly now, all these 10 years later.
All right, well, it is the 10-year anniversary of the Do It For Durrett Foundation. We are here with Kelly Durrett in honor of your husband, Richard, and here with your beautiful children, Owen, Alice, and Margot. Thank you guys so much for joining us and taking some time to be with us.
Thank you. It's so good to be here.
Yeah, 10 years.
10 years.
Can you imagine?
No, I mean, I was pregnant with Margot when we lost Richard, and Owen was 5. And Alice was 3, and I can't believe they're so much bigger now.
Can you imagine the impact that your family would have had? I mean, taking an unimaginable tragedy and then using, this platform to do so much good in the community.
No, I was talking about that with the board recently, in that, when all of it first happened, that first event and all of that is such a blur to me. You know, I was pregnant with Margot. I was trying to figure out what we were going to do and how you even move forward or do things after that. And it's so good to be here now and be on the other side of this and able to support and help other families. And, you know, I always say that I know we're not going to solve all of their problems, right, with one check or one donation, but I feel like what we can do is try to show people that there are still ways forward, right, and that they are supported, and that there are other people who've been through it before. Like, I know when I lost Richard, that was one of the first things I did, was look to other families, like, okay, how do you make your way forward? What do you do? And being able to not only financially support families, but have some of those conversations is really important.
Right, and you know, I'm in media, baseball is a long season.
Yeah.
We spoke in great detail with JD and Emily, and just for former players, for current players, you know, to contribute to this foundation, just how the Rangers have kind of wrapped their arms around your family. What does that mean to you guys?
It's amazing and wonderful. And then, yeah, to watch, you know, Owen played baseball too for a while. He doesn't as much now, but growing up, he played it so much. And baseball just becomes, it's such a family sport, right? And it's such a community. And the people through the Rangers who have continued to show up and support us. You know, I remember even at that first event where people were like, okay, let us know what you need, we'll be there for you. And I was a little bit like, okay, I feel that now, right? But at that point I thought, you're not even gonna remember my name in a year or two, right? And instead, here we are 10 years later with people still showing up and people still supporting families and continuing that. And so that means so much. And I never would have expected that it would continue this long.
And you knew Richard the best, obviously. What do you just think about this annual celebration of his life and remembrance, even for the kids, to still see his impact?
Exactly. That's what I was going to say. I think it means so much for them to be here every year and hear his name spoken and hear stories from people who remember him and spent time with him. And being able to continue that with them means a great deal to all of us.
Over $2 million raised, 200 families that's helped, and you've apparently never told anybody no. You know, just speak on that impact.
That's amazing to me too. Yeah, because I feel like that's where you make a difference in the world, right? Is you start with the people that you come in contact with and that are in your realms and circles, and being able to help and spread some hope and some light to people who are going through really hard times. Yeah, I can't believe that those are the numbers we're at now. It's amazing.
Well, what you guys have done just with an incredible, tragic life event and just turned it into such a positive. What are some ways that people can help, that can contribute and, you know, just kind of honor this legacy?
So continuing, you know, supporting the auction and events like this every year, but also sometimes throughout the year, you know, we'll have special times where, for example, in the past we've done things at Christmas where we've supported families. Because also it's hard to focus on, you know, buying presents and things for children in the middle of something like that, but you also want them to have a Christmas experience or whatever holiday experience. And so supporting with donations for things like that can be helpful. The auction is wonderful, this event every year. Yeah, always through our website.
And just anything you'd like to say to the community?
Thank you, and I think that's the biggest thing, right? Do you guys have anything you'd want to say? No?
No. Well, thank you guys for your time. Continued thoughts and prayers, and thank you for letting us be a part of this event.
Thank you.
Amazing what you're doing.
Thank you.
Thank you all.
Margot got shy on camera, but was not shy anywhere.
She's not shy.
No, fantastic work, and it was so cute when Kelly teared up.
Yeah.
Both girls went to her,
right?
You know, and Owen's kind of like, oh God, here she goes again. You know, it's that 16-year-old boy stuff. Wonderful interview, really, really well done, Abs. And I remember I interviewed Kelly in a piece that we did to run at the first event.
Yeah.
And she started to tear up like that. And I said to her, you know, what do you do when the kids get really upset and stuff? And she said, you know, through tears, she said, I just hold them. And it's the only time in my career I've ever cried during an interview asking a question. But then through tears, I said, who holds you?
Yeah.
And she had a great answer and talked about the support that was around her. But she's such a great spokesperson, right, for this wonderful event because A, it happened to her, and B, she says it all so well.
She does. I mean, I think the thing that I kind of kept trying to bring home is how do you take such an unimaginable tragedy and turn it around into impacting 200 plus families? You know, that's so hard to wrap your mind around. I mean, I don't even understand how in your time of grief you can, you know, help as many people and just not even think of yourself. And it was such an honor to meet them and spend the day with the family and just honoring Richard and, you know, just the impact that Jeff has. It's really cool to see. I mean, he's talked about it so much, but to just see his involvement too. He works so hard on it. So it was just cool to be there, you know, as teammates and showcasing the great work that you guys do. Emily even teared up. I've never seen Emily cry, and I'm like, oh my gosh, like the players got emotional about it. So yeah, I mean, it's just one of those things that you need like a reality check and perspective in life always, and that's an event I will sign up for the rest of my life.
We'll be,
all right. Well, you're on.
We got a board member on the team here, so
I can.
We'll all make it a big part of every year in the future, and next year maybe we'll have the technological advances happening here where we can do the whole show out there and make it a big deal. Yeah, we got to make that happen. So anyway, great stuff. We may talk a little bit more about it. We may do it when we start batting cleanup, perhaps in the next segment. It's nice to see a lot of our normal chatters here, and I'm not surprised. It's Saturday morning, so it's a little, you know, harder to wake up and to catch on. But BC's here. Hate to tell him, but you know, the Rangers are really going to try to make them the odds-on favorite to sign Sasaki, and Uncle Ted doesn't think the Rangers have a chance, nor does he want Sasaki.
What?
Yeah, I know. We'll talk about all that because, come on, Uncle Ted, what are you kidding me?
Who doesn't want?
It's all coming up, as
Sasaki.
is the Rangers contingent from the Fall League. Tonight is the Fall Star game, and the Rangers have 4 players in it. We'll talk about that and so much more as we continue with the DLLS Rangers podcast. All right, let's talk about Empire today. That is great flooring that you need to avail yourself to. It is some of the best stuff out there. It's really, Empire today is like the biggest and the best and the pioneer in all this stuff and all these other fly-by-night flooring companies that you see out there. And it's a popular item that's being sold a lot right now. They're basically copycatting, right? They're trying to do what Empire today has done for years, and you really can't copy the original. So do yourself a favor. Go to Empire today. They have such great techniques, right? You could take your phone, take a picture of the floor that you would like to have redone, and take it to Empire today, and they can put through the magic of technology any different flooring idea, concept, a product on your phone in that room, so you know exactly what it would look like. So that's just one of the many things that they do that's so good. Empire today is offering $350 off new floors. Empire today /Dallas to get that deal.
Well, it's Saturday, as we've said, and we're embracing the Saturday show. But I spend a lot of my Saturdays on the Sleeper app.
Yes, you do.
Yeah, and because I love college football, and I really enjoy doing daily picks. We all know Sleeper as the fantasy platform, but they're really getting into this daily pick stuff, and it's fun. You know, it's choosing a player to have more or less than a certain category. In my case, I'll run down my 5 for the day so far. Milroe, the Alabama quarterback, needs to have more than 199.5 passing yards, so he needs 200 yards.
Who are they playing?
They're playing LSU.
Oh, okay.
Cam Cook, the TCU running back, less than 1.5 anytime touchdowns. Malik Murphy, the Duke quarterback, more than 1.5 touchdown passes. Ollie Gordon, the Oklahoma State running back, more than 69.5 yards. And then Carson Beck, the Georgia quarterback, more than a half an interception. So he needs to throw an interception.
You're rooting for failure.
I am. But he's throwing a bunch.
Yes.
Anyway, download the app, Sleeper app. Use code DLS Rangers for $100 first deposit match. And do it today because it's a lot of fun.
Yeah, we love Sleeper.
Carson Beck looks like Sid from Toy Story, the bad kid.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
And he's got the sleeve, too. He's all tatted up.
Oh, does he?
Arm,
and just kind of like that
buzz cut
haircut. Yeah.
But he has like three interception games this year or something.
Okay, so you got a pretty good shot at winning
Them dogs,
That's
ain't
right.
them dogs.
And what do
they're
you win? What do you win if you win that 190 again or
Oh
something?
no. This one is not. I bet $5.
Okay,
So I would win.
All right.
I would win $30.
all right, that's good.
Yeah, I'll take
That's
it.
a nice return on your investment. Hey, Arizona Fall League happening. The Fall Star Game today, as I love that
I know,
play
Fall
on
Star.
words. The Fall Star Game is today, and you can watch that game, by the way, on MLB Network or MLB.com, and it's at 7:00 our time. And so go ahead and check out the Fall Star Game tonight. And what you'll notice is that the Rangers have more players in the Fall Star Game. And again, it's an all-star game of the Fall League. They have more players than any other team in baseball.
Yeah.
There are several with 3. There's only one with 4, and that is your Texas Rangers.
Well, and really, they have a 5th
Yeah.
because Josh Stephen,
Yeah.
the pitcher, was named to the team, but he's not going to
Not gonna play.
participate. So, and he's been the best pitcher in the league.
Yeah, he has a literal like 0.5.
Yeah, it's like a half ERA. Yeah.
ERA.
Yeah.
But you know these names if you know Rangers prospects. Max Acosta, who's a big signing in 2019 before COVID. He hit 305 after a great second half with Frisco. He went to Arizona, kept it up. Mark Church, who made his MLB debut that last weekend of the season, he is going to be in the game. Cody Freeman, who was our guest, me and John Moore and I had our weekly show yesterday. Was it yesterday? Thursday. And we had Cody on from Arizona to kind of give us the lay of the land. Defensive player of the year for the Rangers in the farm system. Great kid. Just absolutely love Cody Freeman.
Yeah.
And then Alejandro Osuna, who was the
Mhm.
player of the year, is down there killing it too. So, we're talking about Freeman hitting 308, Osuna batting 333. And Cody couldn't say enough nice things about Osuna. And then, like we talked about with Josh Steven, it looks like Stephen, but it's Steven. He's from Grand Prairie, went to South Grand Prairie High School, signed for $20,000 in the COVID year when the draft was only 5 rounds. He could have gone to Stephen F. Austin, but he said, "Screw this, I'm going pro, even if it's for only $20,000." So he's had some injuries. Hurt his back last year. I can't remember what it was this year, but it shut him down, and now he's catching up on innings and out there just kicking ass and taking
Yeah,
names.
Dylan.
Still 0.54.
Yeah, and these guys, a lot of these guys are Rule 5 eligible.
Yeah.
And so, it's a big scouting league. And Cody talked about this. It's a big scouting league. It's an opportunity for these guys to, maybe showcase their stuff for other teams. You know, I mean, look, Cody Freeman, he's probably going to be a major leaguer. He's got enough power in his bat, and he's a great defensive player.
Right.
Okay, a utility guy. Well, the Rangers have Josh Smith and Ezekiel Duran. So, I mean, there's a roadblock there. And they have John Ornelas, who's also on the 40-man. So, you're thinking 3 guys ahead of him. Maybe another organization sees him, and it creates an opportunity for him to go. He's going to be a major league player, I think. And, of course, the Rangers always hope it's for them, but maybe he's a piece in a trade. You never know. And, Osuna, Cody thinks Osuna is going to be in the majors this next season. Just a guy who can do it all. And Acosta's a Rule 5 guy. Church was a Rule 5 last year. They put him on the 40-man. He had the lat injury, or else he would have been in the majors the first month.
Yeah.
And so anyway, good stuff going on down there.
Well, and it speaks to what the Rangers are doing in development.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, they've been criticized for drafting and developing, and it takes a while, right, to rebuild that reputation and, of course, to rebuild a farm system. But right now, there are so many players in this organization who are, right there among the best of those being developed.
Yeah, and it's, next man up mentality was huge for the Rangers this season with the injuries. So, to have a handful of these guys, I mean, all of these bats are, hitting above 300, and they're quite frankly just raking. So it is nice that, you can go to this minor league option. I've, said this once, and I'll say it again. Anytime that you're not playing in Major League Baseball, the opportunity to play more baseball, you're going to take it every time. My dad went and played in winter ball and traveled to Venezuela. And, you just got to grind and you got to eat and you've got to put in the work because, a lot of guys, it's either, hey, this is really like what I'm going to do with my life, or I'm going to go be a car salesman, which nothing wrong with that, but it's just a really pivotal time. So for these guys to, be around other greats at their same level, I love it because when the Rangers hosted the All-Star game, it was really cool to talk to those first-time All-Stars. And I was like, what are you looking most forward to about this event? And they were like, I just want to be a sponge. I want to be around great players, great minds of the game. I want to learn some stuff. Maybe I like the way that he warmed up. Maybe I liked his stretch. Like, you can kind of, take little pieces that you see from everyone else's game. And when you're just around the best of the best, like, you're only going to get better. So I think this is a really great opportunity for these guys. And I think they're very thankful to continue to play baseball right now.
Well, not surprisingly, the team they play for, the surprise team, the Saguaros, are in first place and are going to be a playoff team. Cody, though, Brad Freeman, his brother's getting married next weekend, so he will
his
not
brother
be,
who plays for the Guardians, by the way. Tyler.
He was a Guardians top prospect.
Yeah,
and anyway, he's getting married next weekend. So Cody's the best man, and that was established before he got the invitation to go to the fall league. So he won't be a part of their playoff run. But a great season again. Continued it for all these guys.
Yeah,
so
it's fantastic.
It's a big opportunity.
Yeah, I think to Ab's point too, like you have to be careful, right, and pick your spots. But if you can show the team, I'm all in. I'm doing everything I possibly can to make myself better, to make myself major league ready, to get myself ready to take that next step. The only reason you wouldn't is injury, right? Mm-hmm. Other than that, it's like I have to do everything I can. Okay, I'll do fall league. Okay, you want me to go to Venezuela? They don't do that anymore. But Dominican,
Venezuela, yeah,
but wherever, you want me to go play in Mexico? Whatever, I'll do it. I'll do it to prove. And then these guys end up playing year round. Yeah. I mean, year round.
And it doesn't really stop at the major league level. I mean, Josh Smith, club came to him. Hey, we need to see something from you this offseason.
Absolutely.
And those younger guys in the major leagues, I mean, it's wild that they're still proving themselves at the highest level that you can be at. But I was talking to Jonathan Ornelas, and he's like, yep, planning on playing winter ball. So it's like, and you kind of have to keep working in a spot. And unless you're Corey Seager, I mean, I think you're marking off, some off-season rest. But, yeah, I mean, these guys really never stop working.
No, and there are, and in some of these countries, right, you go back to your homeland and you are expected to play winter ball.
Yeah,
and wasn't it early in Elvis's career, they finally said, you got to stop.
Yeah,
but in those days, Venezuela was in a much different state politically, and they would go back to Venezuela and play a full season down there as well. And the Rangers like, dude, we need you healthy and rested when you get here.
Well, I mean, to basketball comparison again, but it's like Luka. Like, Luka always plays in Slovenia, and, like, to be honest, he probably likes that better than playing in the NBA. And it's, I think at one point they're going to have a discussion. Hey, like, you need to be healthy for your day job, which is playing NBA basketball.
Because he likes that max contract pretty well, too.
Yeah. So, I mean, no, these guys have a lot of pride for their country, and, they want to do what's expected of them, too.
Leody Taveras was doing that early in his
right.
career, and they're like, "Hey, don't play winter ball. You're wearing yourself out. We got things. You got things to work on, and being rested is one of them." But yeah, I mean, to go look at these rosters is kind of a hoot. Like Neftali Feliz, he's still going.
Yeah.
You see a bunch of former Rangers, and you do see some minor leaguers who are down there. Sandro Fabian is playing this year. Jonathan Ornelas was going to go to the Dominican, but he's in Mexico playing right now. So. There are opportunities, and this is when you go down there, you got to perform, or they'll get rid of you. They'll say you're done. So,
grace period isn't too long there.
Yeah, they fire managers in the middle of the season. It's a big deal down there, and they get together for the Caribbean Series, which is always a good time, a fun time, and then you get to see it in the World Baseball Classic, the winner of that year's Caribbean Series. I'm screwing this up. They all have the teams, but the winner of the Caribbean Series is a big deal. So,
anyway,
and to your point about the farm system, we're about to read off our ads, but the Rangers have a deep system.
Yeah.
And it was top heavy last year with Langford and Carter, and then they lost their rookie eligibility. So then it was they kind of slid, but then Rocker came up.
Yeah.
And Leiter had a rebound year, and then Alejandro Rosario had this breakthrough season.
Yeah.
And so now, and so there's always Sebastian Walcott. They're a great Sebastian Walcott. So the Rangers are now kind of back flirting with the top 10 again. So it's not just a deep system. There's some talent there too.
Yeah, it's a reload for the Rangers in that system, and they've reloaded, and they're almost, as Jeff says, back into that top 10. So lots to look forward to in the long-term future. What about the short-term future? There is a lot of chat going on about Roki Sasaki. We'll get back to our lead story of the program as we dispel some of the myths that are happening in the chat. And we also do our batting cleanup segment where we clean up a few things happening around the game of baseball. It's all coming up on the DLLS Rangers podcast. You notice my new merch?
Oh, yeah, that's nice.
Yeah. And I love how it's like the computer underlines it. It's like, this is us, right?
Yeah.
DLLS. This is the first shirt I ordered and the last one I got, but I really dig this one. I like the skyline of Dallas. I like the DLLS. Well, that was because of Ben. This is the one I ordered through Ben.
That was a United States Postal Service error.
It was the USPS. Ben got a whole box of shirts to give to us, and he got a notice. Yeah, your shirts are there. Never showed. They didn't show up here at the building.
I know. I saw. Is he officially Pop Pop now? Clarence Hill.
Yeah.
I saw Pop Pop modeling him. Man, Elijah.
Yeah.
He was wearing this exact same one. He's posing on the wall.
Oh, he was this one.
Oh, yeah.
He was wearing this one.
I think we might have to get you to reenact it.
Yeah, I might.
But
just don't call me Pop Pop.
It was a very Pop Pop pose.
Yeah.
Well, you're about to be a Pop. You're about to be a Pop Pop.
Yeah, I'm about to be a G-Rad is what I am. That's right. So anyway, our merchandise, store.allcitynetwork.com, and you can you get yourself stuff like this, and then you could be a Pop Pop.
And then you can be a diehard too. For a small price of $79.99, you can become our best friend. No, it's a really great option because eventually it pays off itself rather quickly too. You get a free shirt, but then we also do 20% off of events and 20% off of merchandise. And if we're going to do a trip to spring training, I think you're going to want the 20% discount.
Yep.
So sign up, and then you get exclusive content. Jeff writes awesome stories behind the paywall. I mean, if you read Jeff's stuff, then all these things and topics of conversations that you see in the news really wouldn't be a surprise.
Nope.
Because Jeff is the exclusive guy that has you have the inside scoop. So sign up today, $79.99. Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah.
Thank you, diehards. So let's get back to the lead story of the day. And there's a new hat for Jeff. He's sporting the colors now.
That's
Who
right.
do the Frogs have today?
At home against Oklahoma State.
Okay.
Yeah. Richard and he met Kelly. They were both in the TCU band. That's how they met.
Is that right?
Yeah.
I did not know that.
Richard was there. He graduated the year after I did. He graduated 98. I graduated 97. And never knew him. It's a big place. But
yeah.
Anyway, yeah. So he grew up. He lived in a lot of places, Montreal, including Montreal.
Yeah.
Atlanta. His dad worked for Delta, and anyway, he became an Auburn fan, and so Auburn and TCU. So when you see the Do It For Durrett colors, the blue and orange represents Auburn.
Gotcha.
Yep.
All right. So Sasaki has posted, and the Rangers have as good a chance as any. We believe a much better chance than most other teams because of the legwork they've done in Japan. They've got a huge presence there. They also have kept their powder dry, as it were, and they have a lot of money to be able to spend out of their international pool to help lure him here. There's nobody that can pay him, hundreds of millions, right? That's not possible from the international pool. What's the most anybody could pay him, Jeff?
I think the highest is the highest pool is 7.75 million. So I had,
and that's if you wanted to use your entire
the
pool.
whole
but you add 75% for that. Go out and trade prospects for slot money. So maybe 12 million.
Yeah,
somewhere in there. Yeah. So that's probably the max. But again, it's what's coming after. But
Yeah.
wink, wink, nod, nod.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not that 12 million's a bad deal.
Right.
Or 7 or
Right.
10.
Right.
It's not the going rate anymore.
No, that's
Yeah.
right. Yeah, that'd be a paltry sum for a guy of his ilk. He's 23 years old, just turned 23. He's got a triple-digit fastball. He's got a great slider. He's been the best pitcher in Japan. He's been compared to Jacob deGrom, who we've said many times is the best pitcher on the planet.
When healthy.
So when healthy, that's right. So
When he's hurt, he's probably only top 5.
you know, so it begs the question, Uncle Ted, why would you say you'd rather have Mr. Miyagi than this? And then, well, he says than him at his cost, which, you know, his cost is
It's free
not-
money.
Yeah, his cost is not significant.
I mean, down the road cost is going to be significant. Hiroa Miyagi, a lefty, you know, he's young. He hasn't been posted yet. He plays for Oryx, Yamamoto's club. He's only 5'7".
Yeah.
So that's kind of
Feet tall?
he's not growing. He doesn't have a growth spurt coming. He's done.
Is that real?
So 5'7", 5'7" is going to be tricky. Scouts are going to be shy of that. I know the results are going to be there. Shota Umaga is
I
like
would love
5'10".
to see why stand next to him.
I mean, that's
short enough.
yeah.
Yeah,
I mean,
but that's doable.
You don't see
Yeah.
real small starting pitchers. You know,
No,
Lincecum
Not
was
in this day and age.
Lincecum was 5'11", but he was a freak. So it's just, you know, scouts. You know, you got to think like a scout sometimes, and they're like, what do you want when you draft a 6'4", 140-pound lefty out of high school? Well, he's going to grow into his body. You know, he's going to become 225, and his fastball is going to pick up. Miyagi's numbers he had like a 1.9 ERA.
Yeah, he was good.
He's very good.
But he's not.
I don't think he's Sasaki good. But anyway, he hasn't posted either. So we got to wait a few years.
And how old's Miyagi? Do we know
He's
that?
23.
23.
So,
23
but
as well.
Oryx waited on Yamamoto till he was 26.
Yep.
So we'll see.
And they got $50 million for it, which, you know, is good for the budget, obviously. So interesting.
Roki says, Uncle Ted says Roki
I
is a
saw
walking
that
TJ.
too.
You know what, Uncle Ted? They're all a walking TJ. Okay? Every one of them is a walking TJ. How many times has Ohtani had it? 2 times. Darvish once, right? Yamamoto had the elbow issue earlier this year. So I mean, every pitcher, Jacob deGrom has had Tommy John twice.
Hasn't our buddy Nathan Eovaldi had it
Twice. Colby Lewis has had
It's just the
it
game
once.
these
I mean,
days.
these guys get Tommy John. Keith Meister was on the weekly podcast back in May. He said that these elbows, these reconstructions that he's doing, are lasting like 3 to 5 years. You know, it's just like second Tommy Johns are just going to be part of the deal now. I mean, Kumar Rocker just had one at 24, let's say.
Yeah, it's not
No,
an if,
it's
it's a
And
when.
by the way, so many of these kids now are having it in high school.
A lot of them do,
Yeah.
yeah. And
Yeah.
Sean Tollison had it in high school.
Yes, he did.
You know, and then he had to
Yeah.
have it again later on. So
Yeah.
That's crazy.
TJ, I think you're
Yeah.
just going to build in a year. I think teams are just like, all right, well, there's a year, and you insure it. You get half your money back if you want. Fine.
Yeah.
But
Just know you're going to lose him for a year.
Yeah.
You know? Yeah. When he has the TJ,
you hope
lose
he
him
has
for
it
a year.
early.
Yeah.
And has
Right.
the whole,
No, I
the-
mean
Yeah.
that's the thing with Rocker.
yeah.
Like he kept saying, "Oh, it's going to happen." So might as well be in the minor leagues. You
Yeah.
know, not
Sure.
when you're,
Sure.
you know.
And what you hope is that won't happen as it did to Jacob deGrom, not only for your team, although it didn't ultimately hurt the team, which won the World Series the year that he got hurt, but you feel bad for the guy. First of all, we all felt terrible, those of us who were in a part of that interview that day, because he was so distraught that it had happened to him. He had just signed the big, $185 million contract, and, 3 or 5 starts into the season, he ends up having, needing Tommy John surgery. But then you hate that a guy like that isn't able to be a part. And certainly he was a part. He got a ring. He got a playoff share. But he wasn't the part of the team that he would have liked to have been in a championship season.
Sure. Yeah. But, he made 6 starts that year, and the Rangers won all 6 of them.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a big deal when you win the division by 1 game.
Yeah.
And coming from New York, when he signed with the Rangers, he said, well, I signed here to win championships. And the Rangers coming off of a 102 loss and a 94 loss season, and all the New York media are like, yeah, you're full of it.
Right.
You're full of it.
Yeah.
And I think he heard a lot of, I think, negative press from New York media, and I think that kind of weighed on him a little bit. I think he's, you know, we can be tough when we have to be. You know, if a guy pitches like crap, we'll say, hey, why'd you pitch like crap? You know, but we don't do the ancillary stuff
and the New York people, they're just
there's you know, 3 times, 4 times the number of reporters around his locker after a game too. So anyway, I think he's found a home here. I think he really likes it. I think now that he's healthy, it's going to be a fun 3 years. I really am looking forward to seeing him pitch. I hope that he gets to pitch with Nathan Eovaldi.
Yep.
You know,
yep.
I asked Mike Maddox yesterday while we're riding around our golf cart if he thinks Eovaldi's going to resign, and he said, I sure hope so. You know, and I think they had talked about it at the end of the year. Nathan was asking, you know, hey, what are your plans? He asked Maddox, what are your plans? You know, he's still, you know, are you going to be the pitching coach next year? And so I think that you know, Eovaldi is taking a look at this and a real serious, wants the situation to be right. And you know, hey, if you know that deGrom's coming back healthy and Rocker, which he saw at the end of the year, and say, hey, we're going to throw Roki Sasaki in there. Why wouldn't you want to be a part of that?
Yeah.
But I do kind of think that, and I don't know if Sasaki's going to hold up the market like Yamamoto and Ohtani did last year, because he comes from the different pool.
Yeah.
You know, but at the same time, you know, maybe you wait to hear what kind of money he's going to get in a couple of years if you're like Corbin Burns, you know, the top free agent pitcher out there. So maybe that holds things up a little bit, but I hope not.
When can teams, like, how long can they have to wait for Saki to?
The posting period, players can be posted from November 1st to December 5th. And then once he makes his decision where he wants to play, you have, or maybe it's from the time he's posted, 45 days to sign him. So it could go fast. It could be done before the end of the year.
Yeah.
But Ohtani and Yamamoto were both done before Christmas last year, I think.
I think they did too, but that could stretch too. It could stretch a little longer than that. And either way, you know, by Christmas, most often, the biggest free agents are off the board. And it seems like that, you know, depending on if you're going to wait on him.
So 45 days after he's posted. So 45 days.
Past the 5th.
Once the MLB announces it.
Okay.
So if MLB announces it tomorrow, then it's 45 days from the 11th.
But it could be as late as the 5th that they announce it?
Well, I suppose it could be. Yeah. I mean, I don't know how all that works. The club has to inform Major League Baseball their intentions to post the player.
Okay.
And then once that becomes official,
wait.
Then it's the 45 days. If it's 45 days from the 11th, that gets you right before Christmas.
Yeah.
So, or maybe right after, because my birthday's the 13th, and my Christmas is 42 days after my birthday. So,
okay. Wow.
Yeah. So anyway, there you go.
Yeah. How about that?
Some math.
Yeah.
I have no idea how many days after my birthday Christmas is.
Well, my birthday and Christmas are always on the same day of the week.
I got you.
Yeah, so that's how I
every year
figure that out.
Yeah. Oh, well, good for you.
Sorry.
Yeah, good stuff.
One of my nerdy things.
That's fantastic. So look, we've got fingers crossed. It's you know, I see Ethan down there saying there's a 10% chance that Roki is coming. I'd say it's probably higher than that, but you know, it's not like
nobody really knows.
No.
Yeah.
It's not like we're saying there's a great chance. We're saying there's a chance.
Yeah.
So
and
you're saying there's a
you know,
chance.
you have to be at the table, right? That's the same thing.
You get in the room. So Ohtani, just to refresh, he picked 7 teams. And then 1 week in L.A., they rented out a hotel conference room, and all these teams made their presentations to him. And then they had to wait until he sorted things out. And it didn't take terribly long. But it's, you know, and the Rangers were one of the 7 and felt good about it. And they were in communication with the agent throughout the process after the meeting, saying John Daniels was like, hey, do we need to get more money? And he was told it's not really going to be about that. And it turns out it wasn't, because the Rangers, again, had the most money at that time. So but get in the room, you know. I would imagine that it'll be the Dodgers, the Mariners, the Giants, the Cubs, maybe both New York teams. I think the Rangers have a shot. I really do.
Be one of them.
Especially if see why.
But it could be all 30. He could say, I'm going to meet with all 30 teams.
Sure.
It doesn't have to be 7. It could be 11. It could be 2. But get the chance. Get in the room. Convince Wasserman Agency. Let's do this and get us in there and let us knock his socks off.
Beautiful. Fun Saturday. First time we've done a Saturday show yet. And there was a lot to talk about. We hope you had a fun time doing it. We appreciate you chatting along. So we're only going to have tomorrow off before we're back talking baseball again. And it's a good thing because there are a few things in our batting cleanup segment we didn't get to, but we'll save those for Monday. They'll wait. And we appreciate you. Right now, it says we're on the schedule, Jeff, for noon every day next week. So I think that is there a change on Tuesday that you know about?
Not yet.
Okay. So anyway, I think we're on noon every day next week. We'll update you if we're not, but we kind of dig this time slot because you seem to dig this time slot, and we appreciate that. Chat along with us again on Monday as we bring you another edition of the DLLS Rangers podcast.
We all silly like the mayor.